Nathan Crampy here. I recently hosted the 8,000 Days of Retirement. Here's a clip from that webinar. Big decisions don't just happen in one stage of life or one phase of retirement, but they will look different in every stage of life. And the decisions now that you need to make are just a little bit more based upon the longevity, based upon what you want to be doing or the needs you have in the future. So that's the next phase of retirement. We have the honeymoon phase. Now let's talk about that big decision phase. Okay, so this phase of life is something that the sooner you get to it and start planning for it, the better you're going to be throughout all of retirement. This really encompasses many different things. So how are you going to get around? Where are you going to live? And just all kind of around your caregiving and healthcare as well. You see, that all comes back down to the lifestyle that you're going to have and the enjoyment you're going to have. So when you take a look at things, let's start with the house. Where are you going to live? Well, if we take a look at houses today, many of them across the country were built prior to 1975. And many of them in the suburbs around the cities are probably built in the 40s and 50s, right after the war. And then obviously some of them were built in prior to 1900s as well. So you have this huge range of homes and houses. The only issue with these houses, and especially one that Dr. Joe is trying to solve, is that these were not homes that were designed for people that were aging in their home. They were designed for a younger generation. So the same house that you would buy in your 30s is not the one that is going to be able and easy to be in maybe in your 80s. And that's where maybe the stairs are going to be a huge issue and need to be addressed. Well, maybe it's going to be moving. Maybe you need to move into another house or community that's going to be closer to what your needs are. So whether it's just social aspects or just being closer to all the things you need to be buying on a daily basis. You see a lot of people now that are, as they're aging, are moving back into the city because we do have transportation. We do have the ability to walk down the street and go to the grocery store, to go to the pharmacy, to go to the things that you want to do. Well, maybe that's not for you though. Maybe you want to be closer to the grandkids, so you're going to move into a house there. Well, or maybe you're actually going to move up in size because you want the kids to be with you. You want the grandkids to be with you. Well, maybe you're going to be moving down in size so the kids can't be with you. See, all of this comes back into the phase that we're going to be talking about here with your big decisions. So it's not just the home, but it's about how you're going to be getting around and your health care. Because how you navigate those are going to really determine some of the benefits that you can have in retirement. Well, up to this point, we've seen a lot of joy. We've seen a lot of fun things that we can be doing and the big decision questions. But these are the three most important questions of the day. And if you hear nothing else that I've said through this entire time, hear these questions and take them to heart. The first question here is about the light bulb. Who will change my light bulb? You see, I didn't ask the question, who's going to add on that deck to my house, or who's going to convert the sunroom into a bedroom so that I don't have to navigate the stairs. There are people for that, and you can pay people to come in, do that, and everything is going to get accomplished. But what about the light bulb? Or some other retirees have really been having some issues with their fire detectors, just needing to change the battery that's in there. So, of course, at 2 o'clock in the morning, the smoke alarm is going off, and that just incessant beep. Yeah, that's hard because you don't want to call someone at 2 in the morning, especially someone that is going to be charging you $100 an hour just to come and change that beeping smoke alarm. Or in the afternoon when you want to read and you have a light bulb that needs to be changed that's up high. Well, how are you going to do that? And I would suggest don't do it yourself, though. I've talked to clients who've gotten up on a ladder of their own and tried to change the light bulb and fallen off the ladder. I've talked to others who were at the top of the stairs doing a little task, didn't just kind of understand how close to the ledge they were, tumbled down the stairs and put his head through the wall. Yeah, that didn't feel good. Also, talked to some that one gentleman was an incredible kind of just do-it-yourself fix-it person in his younger years. So he said, well, the water faucet in the bathroom is dripping. So he went to Home Depot to get the faucet. He started to get under the sink and threw his back out just of how he had to contort under the sink. So these types of questions are ones that are kind of funny in nature, but are very serious. How are we going to get the help that we need in our house, especially if we should not be up on a ladder or don't have the ability to do some of these smaller changes on our own right? Well, that's where some communities really shine because they provide all of these services for you. But if you want to live in a home and you do not want to live as part of one of these communities, what do? Well, fortunately, there's an app for that. So just like what we were talking about, the gig economy, for you working and doing something for others, there's the gig economy that can work and do things for you now. So there's apps like TaskRabbit, and I'm not here to endorse any different apps or whatnot, but there are different apps that you can go on and you can say, I need a light bulb changed, and someone will say, great, I'll be there in 15 minutes and it's going to cost you $5. So you now have the ability to stay in your home and do these things where you may never have had the time or the just even the ability to have this happen before. So now with the gig economy and the ways that we are progressing all of these types of technologies, you are able to stay in your home and have questions like this answered. Well, let's go on to the next question. How will I get an ice cream cone? Again, we're not talking about how to get to the grocery store or how to get to the mall or the gym, because there are services, again, that will be available that can come pick you up and for set periods of time drop you off and then pick you back up. But what if you just want to go get a quick ice cream cone? You may not want to call your kids every single time because they may not be available, or the desire to pick you up, drive the 20 minutes to pick you up, take you that mile to get your ice cream cone and come back, probably will not be there after the 10th time or the 15th time. And it may only be that, just a mile. I mean, I know that for me, I have an incredible gelato place 1 mile away. And in the summertime, I love to walk there. Well, I'm not going to be walking there in a number of years. My legs may not be as active. Maybe my knees are not as good. So how do I go that mile? And answering these types of questions are really what's going to make retirement enjoyable, because when we start thinking through these questions, now you can really start having an answer and preparing for when you just want to go get something simple like ice cream or have a simple task done, or who do you want to have lunch with? You see, that's another very important question as well, and one that you should really consider, because your social network is going to keep you engaged. It's going to keep you going where maybe other things won't. in this stage of life. So that's one of the most important things that we can be asking, social aspects and related to just getting around and getting things done.